Well, good morning and welcome back to the channel. It's Memorial Day morning. It's kind of early because it's rainy out. I was going to go to a parade today, a Memorial Day parade, but it's raining. And then late last night, I got notified I might have to go to work later, so I can't really be at a parade and then get a call and have to go to work. So I would, I guess, be... I don't know the word I'm looking for. It's early. I think we should honor Memorial Day. I think it's a very important day in the holidays that we have during the year. Veterans Day and Memorial Day are 2 days that I think are very valuable. I think our country doesn't exist without the people that we honor on those days. I think that I couldn't be making this video had people not given their lives to protect our country and to give us the freedoms that we enjoy every day, the freedom to work on tractors and the freedom to choose what church we want to go to and to go hunting and carry the guns that we have and to be able to say the things that we can do and the ability to not have the government walk into our houses and take things whenever they want. I think that those are all things that are very important, and we cannot even, one day doesn't do justice to honoring the people that made sure that we can keep doing what we do and have the lives that we have. And I think too many people in this country have forgotten that that's why we have what we have. I think a lot of us do remember, but unfortunately I think a lot don't. So that is my my little remembrance today, and I wish I could do more, but I think those words, I think, will ring true with a lot of people. So with that being said, we'll get back to talking about tractors, and we can do that because of the men and women that have served before us. So we had storms roll through yesterday afternoon. I was trying to do some stuff. I did some work on the A4T. Was trying to get the light. I buffed out the fenders, and then I tried to wire up the lights on the fenders, but the rains came, and so I came inside, and I was going to film all of this with the 950, but it rained so hard, and the camera was in the house, and it blew so hard that I'm like, yeah, I'm probably just going to keep working and not worry about filming because it wasn't worth getting drenched to go get the camera. But basically what I did is I drained the radiator, I'm draining the hydraulic fluid, got the sheet metal off, and that's about what I needed to get done. The reason is because I need to go through, I've got to replace, and you can see even better now why that hose has got to be replaced. That hose is just barely hanging on. And the bottom one, I'm going to do the same thing. So I need to pull the whole front end off in order to get the bottom radiator, because the way that it's set up, you can't really do that with the radiator on. And then I'll have to take off the manifold there in order to replace that one. But in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I'm going to do what I did on the A4T. So I'm going to have Oliver Phil make me, that hydraulic line's not great. These lines are not great, so I'm going to replace all those while I have this off. And I have a little bit of a leak down there, and I think that's from my steering cylinder. So I'm going to have Oliver Phil rebuild that because my hydraulic lines down there are new. If you remember when I got this tractor, they were leaking like crazy. And then I'll do the same thing up here, replace hoses. This hose here that comes around to the power steering pumps, the pressure line. I'm going to have Phil make me that. And then this is another pressure line. That's leaking there. I'm going to have to get that soldered or brazed. Rebuild the alternator because it is gunked up. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's had hydraulic fluid dripped on it for a long time. And so that's what I need to do up here. None of that's really a big deal, and that shouldn't take a whole lot of time. But on the back, I'm going to need to... So That canister is supposed to be in front of the wheel, and it's leaking all over the floor. So I have a new one because the top end of this one's broke off. So I'm going to rehang it where it's supposed to go and have to do new lines to that because these lines are wrong. Like that line that goes in there is not supposed to be like that. Meanwhile, I might as well do these lines because these are not great going back to my remotes, and I need new couplers there because those are leaking. And while I'm at it, these are wet around the top, so I'm going to have Phil rebuild those. And then I've been told that the pump right there is very important for the high and the low, the 3-speed. So I need to pull that off, and there's needle bearings in there. I'm going to check those needle bearings and probably end up replacing those. So I need to just kind of go through. It's a bunch of little things, but they're important things, and it will also help this thing stop leaking all over my floor. And in the meantime, I'm also going to do some painting. That hood, I mean, obviously this thing could look so much better just by a little bit of painting. I don't have to paint the whole tractor. Sometimes you just paint a few of the pieces. It'll make it look a lot better. So got the hoods off. I'm going to go through, freshen up the paint on those. I'm going to pull the front wheels off and sandblast and paint those. And then I will do that with the rears also, the centers. So just kind of an all-around freshen up on this tractor because I like it a lot and it's fun to drive, but it's just been used for a long time and not I guess those little things haven't been fixed as they've been going bad. So that's where I'm at on that. It's what I did yesterday evening. So yeah, and then hopefully at some point today we will, if I have time before I get called to work, I think my buddy Jim's going to come over and we're going to try to put the wing windows into the A4T, and I can maybe get done wiring that, although I kind of doubt it. There's just not enough time in the day. But here are the windows that I'm going to put into that, and it's just a matter of fabricating up those hinges so that they work. And then I have a rear window, same rear window, and it will go, that I put in the one here, will go in the other A4T that I have. So that's my I got a lineup. It's 7:20 this morning. It's really kind of a race to see how much I can get done before I get that call to go to work. So, all right, I'll bring you guys back. I got to do a couple like cleanup things, and then I'm gonna start picking away at stuff to get things done. All right, so I got a few things done. Just pulled off all my hoses, undid everything from the bottom of the hydraulic tank. Get that hose off, had to cut it off. That's been brazed there at some point, so I was very careful taking that hose off. But here's the problem in having the hydraulic tank up here is it's messy. Everything drips. So let this drip out. I want to get this whole front off today so I can get the radiator out, get the radiator to the radiator shop, and then I can also get a count on what rubber hoses I need. That's all pretty easy. Kind of learned that on the A4T. Just need to get the right sizes and order, go into Napa, match up a bunch of hoses and throw on new hoses, new clamps, and then we're done. So I got distracted. There's a bird there and not allowed to build or come in here. So, all right, let this drain out, and then I'll bring you guys back when I go to lift this thing off of here. All right, got everything unhooked. Got the gantry in place. And what I need to do now is take out the, I think it's 4 bolts that hold this on. There's one here, there's one on the outside there, and then there's 2 on the other side. Takes a 3/4 wrench, and they're kind of a pain. I'll get those off, then this will be loose, and then I can, I got to do this support here also. Take that apart, or that off, and then we'll slide her out real easy so that the fan doesn't hit the shroud there, and then we'll be free. I'll have to work that top radiator hose off in the bottom as I slide it out. So let me get those bolts off, and then I'll bring it back so you can see me slide it out. All right, got everything loose. When I pulled it away, there was more antifreeze that needed to drain out, so we got that to drain out. So we'll just move it ever so slightly forward. It kind of hangs up. It's such a tight fit there. It's not easy to get it off the lower. It's the word I'm looking for. Radiator hose now. All right, now I can go up a little because I think I can clear the fan blades. Of course, everything's going to start dripping a little bit more. And she's riding a little heavy on the back side. More antifreeze. And she's free. Let her down. Guess you guys don't need to listen to the chain fall clack the whole way down. All right, she's on the floor. So easy enough. I just have 6 bolts on, there's 3 on each side to get the radiator out. And then I am going to end up painting these side covers when I do the hoods to make them match, because they have some wear down there, probably from when it had a loader on it. So I'll pull those off and get my hoses. Here's the front of the tractor with that off. I will do some scraping because there is a lot of buildup of grease and crap from years of the hydraulic tank leaking back, or the hoses. There's a lot of crap in there. And I will also, you can see better here where this hose is, I have to replace also. So we'll get all that done. And my buddy Jim's on his way over. I pulled the A4T in. I just pulled the one plexiglass side window out of this side. We're going to try to fit that wing window in. Unfortunately, I just did a little bit of prefab work with the window, and the hinges don't match up. The white cab must have been, there's a reason these had piano hinges on the outside. So I don't know if we can modify what's on it to work, or I don't know. When he gets here, he's pretty good at fabricating. We'll check it out and see what we can do. Well, my buddy Jim just left, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to do something different. So these hinges don't work the way they're set up. The white cab must be different. So what we looked at on the original Molines, they had a piano hinge along this side. So I need to find piano hinge 2 foot long. Cut these off. We'll attach it to the frame, either welded or whatever, but those 3 bolts there, if this had the option for that, that's where the piano hinge would bolt. So what we're going to do is try to recreate that, find a piano hinge that will work, and fabricate it onto the window, and that way we'll have wing windows on this. But a little bit of a disappointment, because I was hoping to get that done, and now I got an open window, because basically they had a plexiglass window in there, and all the stuff that they had holding it in is basically rotten. So I'm not going to have a window in there until I get this figured out. The 3-point was up on this, and not thinking, I lowered it, and then it shot hydraulic fluid all over the floor. So I got a mess to clean up. I do have the radiator out. I did that just before he got here. And I'm going to pull off these side pieces and get the gantry out of the way, and then keep picking away at. I'm going to probably make a pile of stuff that Phil's got to do so I can get that to Phil, and he can be working on that while I'm doing the rest of this. And hopefully this won't be down too long. So big thing is, and I talked to Rob, he's going to do hopefully my painting for me, because I'm just, when you have a month or so to do this, and if this tractor's not ready, it's not the end of the world. I just would like to have it ready for the Greenville show. Take the 950 propane and the 302 propane and have them there together. But if the 950 doesn't happen, no big deal. We'll just see. I think I can get a lot of it done. You know, it's just going to take some great time to get everything done. And as we found out today, things don't always go the right way. Man, I thought those wing windows would work, like bolt right in. Oh well. Get this big thing out of the way and kind of move things back around in here, because I had to move everything to get the welder out, because I thought we were going to be welding. And then I'm going to keep working on the 950, get as much done as I can before hopefully I get that work call that says I got to go to work. Well, kind of got lost in my work, and Mrs. Ohio MM was out talking to me, so I got distracted. But anyway, after I got the radiator out, I've now got the alternator off, which as you can see is all gummed up with crap from years of sitting underneath the tank. I've got power steering pressure lines off. That line that needs brazed at the end, it's off. So that's kind of where all that's at. Took off the toolbox so I could get to that line to undo it. I was just back here looking. What I need to do now is start yanking off lines back here, because while I'm on a roll, I might as well get as much of this off as I can, because all this will go to Oliver Phil. And you know, we can kind of go from there and see how what it looks like. As much as I hate to spend the money to do these lines, those are probably original. I might as well while I'm here. But I'm gonna have to do this line that comes down, it goes and feeds the cylinders, and there's a line that goes between the cylinders, and then at some point I'm gonna have to take this tire off to give me enough room to get in there to work, to move the filter housing to where it needs to be, and then I'm gonna have to kind of measure the lines that I'm going to need for that. And I need to do that probably, could even happen today. I don't know. We'll see how things progress. Sun has come out. It's breezy, but it's humid, so a little hot. And just keep going. I mean, the more I get done on this today, I guess the quicker this thing gets done, which is what I'm going for, quick turnaround. Well, the pile for Oliver Phil is growing. This line goes from where the 3-point lever is back to the lift cylinders. This line goes between the lift cylinders. It's obviously been on there a long time. You can tell by the way that the clamp that held it has dug into it. Just got the lift cylinders off, which is always pleasurable. I'm tired of smelling and getting soaked in hydraulic fluid, but it is what it is. So again, these plates, kind of like the A4T, go on the outside here. They hold these pins in. Those pins hold those bottom of those cylinders. And those plates are held by 2 slotted head bolts with nuts on either side. I think I just flipped this side down. So got those out, got the lines out. I'm still going to need to get this line off at some point, and I got to pull this pump off, which I think I'm going to have to swing this out of the way in order to do that. I'm guessing, I don't know, I've never messed with one of these pumps before, but I need to check the needle bearings in there from what I understand. And then I'm gonna have to pull that tire off in order to get to the filter. And I think before I do that, I'll pull off the hydraulic or the cylinder for the power steering. So actually making a lot of progress. It's just hot and stuffy and humid. And next I probably need to take off all of these and the lines in order to get those to all overfill, because all these are leaking non-stop. And so one more little thing to get done back here. I'll be done on, well, other than that, be done on the back. And probably get those done and the steering cylinder off. And I'll leave this for another time, maybe. We'll see what time it is, because mentally I need a break from this thing, because I've been going on it hard since what time did I start? Around 8, about 5 hours. So, but I've got a lot done in 5 hours. I'm not complaining, but I'm going to keep going at it. And obviously today I'm home and I'm waiting on a phone call, so I might as well get as much done as I can, because that only makes sense. And then I'll have my pile to go to Oliver Phil. He can work on those. I can work on other stuff, and we'll get this thing back together hopefully quick. So I took the cover off. I've not had that cover off since I've had this. Here's what you got. You just basically have 4 lines going back to this block. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. These are held on by clips, which I can take off. And so I should be able to just to take them loose here, take the clips off, slide the fittings out, take it to fill that way. And I'll just have to label which one's which, just in case there are any slight variations. Then I'll know and he will know. But definitely we'll leave that cover off and hot water pressure wash this when I'm all said and done, because obviously there's a lot of years, 50 some years of built up dirt that needs to get blown off this thing. So hot water pressure washer is going to get put into action for sure. All right, I just got the steering cylinder off, got the lines dripping down there. Up here, in order to get it off the front where it mounts down in there, you got to get it back to that. I actually had to take that tie rod off because it was hitting the stop before I could get it fully in there. But here it is, and it's been rubbing. It's somehow worked its way up, and it's been rubbing for quite some time. So I will clean this pin up to make sure that it seats all the way down when I put it back together. That might have been some of my issues with the way it was steering, just kind of catching and didn't, I don't know, that could have been it. So anyway, I moved everything out here because everything's just dripping all over the floor. But there's the steering cylinder out, and yep, I gotta label some of my lines so that Phil knows what they are, especially these rear remote lines. And I think the last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to, well, on this tractor, I'm going to take this hydraulic line off here because Phil needs to make me a new one of those. And then I'm practically, other than where that filter goes on the back, I should have a pretty good pile of stuff for Phil, which I'm sure he's thrilled about. But I'm going to get this line off, and then might mess around with the wiring on the back of the A4T just a little bit, so I can get hands out of these gloves, because I've been sweating in them all day and my hands are raw from sweating inside these gloves. But I've been, if I wouldn't have, I'd have been covered in oil all day. And I'll just mess with the tire, doing the tire and all that on another day that I'm not mentally it's been a long day out here already. If I started at 8, we're going on almost 8 hours. So, but I've got a lot done. I mean, I feel very good in what I've gotten done. So, all right, I'm going to pull off that line, and then we'll see how the lights go on the A4T, hopefully. Well, I did get the flashers wired up and the work lights on the fenders. They're not the LEDs, so they're not near as bright as the LEDs down here, and neither are the flashers. for now, I'm just going to go with these. Did get a SMB sign mounted up there, and I bolted it down so it wouldn't flop off, because this thing does rattle going down the road. So that's something I got accomplished at the end of the day that wasn't covered in hydraulic fluid, although every tool I touched, it seemed like it was. So got a box here of hoses and an alternator to go to Oliver Phil. 3 cylinders there for him to rebuild. So that's where we're at. Long day out here, but I got a lot done. Still a lot to go, but it should progress pretty well. I'm pretty happy with what I got done today, and we'll just keep going on. So please keep watching and comment if you got comments, and we'll get this one done, and then we're into show season, and then as soon as show season's over, we'll start working on pulling the motor out of the 1355 to put in the other A4T, which will be a project. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video.